Swordsmanship, an art form used throughout the entire world. Many weapons were crafted for this very art form. But what happens when this art form is used by two people who has to have swords that are of ridiculous length and unnatural proportions? Well, today we are going to find out with these two swordsmen. What is up, guys? DBZonny #1 here, and today, ladies and gentlemen, for another Who Would Win. I am on my own, sadly, but do not despair, guys. I will do this on my own pretty darn well, and with I don't know, sometimes I feel like my videos are a tad short when I haven't got anyone helping me. I don't know, it differs depending. But today, ladies and gentlemen, I am pinning the substitute Soul Reaper Ichigo Kurosaki up against the one-winged angel Sephiroth. That's right, ladies and gentlemen, it's Bleach versus Final Fantasy. Oh yes, video games versus anime. So yeah, just without further ado, let's just get into the basics. Their names, their race, height, age, and origin, and then we'll get into the statistics. I'll start off with, of course, Ichigo. His name being Ichigo Kurosaki. He is a human-born Quincy with Soul Reaper powers. Standing at 5'11.5" at the end of his respective series, originally being only 5'8.5", and his age is roughly 17 years old. Ichigo Kurosaki is the first son of Isshin Shiba and Masaki Kurosaki. Isshin Shiba used to be the head of the Shiba clan as well as the captain of the Squad 10 in the 13 Court Guard Squad before Toshiro Hisugaya, who was the third seat at the time. Isshin went to investigate a disturbance in the world of the living and encountered a powerful hollow named White. After being injured, he was saved by Masaki Kurosaki, who was sent to marry Ryukin Ishida, Iryu's father, at the time. In the battle, Masaki was infected by White, which put her in a fatal condition. Feeling guilty, Isshin decided to save Masaki by living with her for the rest of his life as a human body that suppressed his Soul Reaper powers. When Ichigo was born, he inherited the hollow white form from his mother along with her Quincy powers, and Soul Reaper powers from his father. His mother being attacked by a hollow also gave him the ability to use Full Brain. After his mother was killed tragically at a young age, Ichigo grew up being able to see ghosts. Kinda like the Harry Potter logic. You can only see ghosts if you've seen death. Ichigo eventually would meet Rukia Kuchiki, who, after an injury with a hollow, would give Ichigo her powers so he could turn into a Soul Reaper. Even though technically he had Soul Reaper powers anyway. But I guess she activated his? I have no idea how it works. After that, Ichigo went on many journeys and many battles and became known as one of the most powerful Soul Reapers, if not the absolute most powerful Soul Reaper in all of the Bleach manga or Bleach anime. Now on to his opponent, Sephiroth, a human that's genetically altered and is part Cetra. Standing at a whopping 6'1", at the time of his official death, his age was 27 years old. Born from the Genova cells being injected into a fetus, Sephiroth was always extraordinary. He was the strongest soldier and a hero everyone looked up to, until the Nibelheim incident. Upon reacting to the small town housing Genova, he lost his true self to her influence, resulting in the monster he now lives as. He wants Sephiroth sought out to destroy the world and only have Cetra or ones worthy enough to live in it. He would kill many and do as he pleased, as he thought himself basically like a god. Okay, with all that information out of the way, let's get into the statistics. Now going over the list, it goes strength, speed, stamina, martial arts / fighting skills, special moves, type / powers, durability or armor, weapons, special abilities, transformations, intelligence, and weaknesses. So, let's start with Sephiroth. Well, let's have a look at how physically strong he is. He's able to kick Cloud a decent distance away. Not knowing how far he kicked him hard enough to break concrete. Do you know how tough concrete is? Almost just as tough as asphalt, if not tougher. Concrete is basically, well, concrete can kind of be made in a sort of a sand mixer, but as soon as it's set and dried, it's strong as rock. Literally a giant sheet of brick. Now I don't know if he kicked him into a concrete building or concrete floor. Either way, being able to break concrete is no small feat. Especially seeing how Sephiroth is technically human, even though he's part Cetra. However, it is stated that he has superhuman strength thanks to his Genova cells, or Cetra cells I should say. The strength of his weapon, which I'll mention again later, is able to cut a giant Mako cannon from far away, then rapidly to pieces when he lands. So in other words, he can cut the Mako cannon from very far away and then into more pieces as soon as he lands down. In terms of resistance strength, in other words, kind of into the durability thing here, but in a way resistance strength is like lifting strength or like pushback strength in a way. He blocked an attack from Cloud which crushed the metal under him, and he did it with a smile. Literally, he was standing on a big metal pipe. Cloud came down from the sky. Well, not the literal sky, but he came down hard and tried to cut him in half with his Buster Sword. Sephiroth just immediately put a hand up, caught it, but instead of standing still, the metal below him dented and just got crushed like an aluminum can. And he did it with a smile, meaning what Cloud tried to do to him and what happened afterwards was nothing. Literally, he could do that casually. That's how resistant he is. He's strong enough to survive an attack which crushes giant metal pipes. That is some ridiculous strength. Physically, he's strong. In resistance strength, he's damn near tough. And in his weapon strength, that is ridiculous. And the Mako cannon is made out of like pure metal. Like, it's literally a humongous laser cannon. But with that out of the way, let's see how strong Ichigo is. Ichigo is strong enough to obliterate mountains by swinging his sword, while in his Dangai form, or true Shikai, which I guess is his final Shikai form, I suppose, and in his Bankai form and merged Hollow form, are at least 5 times stronger than that. So even if we blow up into 2 mountains, now in his Bankai and merged Hollow form, he's 5 times stronger. Now he can destroy 10 mountains. Mountains! And you know what are in mountains? Loads of things. Rocks, ores. If you don't know what ore is, it's a type of metal, crystals, and probably other things, because there are a load of different gems and stones in mountains. There's jade, possibly diamonds, sapphires, and all that. And he can obliterate that shit just by swinging his sword. Just by swinging the damn sword. Now, I know that's not physical strength, but he is swinging it with his strength. And that is damn strong. Look, even when I'm lowballing him to 2 mountains, thanks to his Bankai and merged Hollow form, he's 5 times stronger, meaning he can destroy 10 mountains by swinging his sword once. Or swinging it at least a couple of times? I have no clue. But still, if he's able to obliterate mountains with a single swing, even though it's not fully stated, that would make him unbelievably strong. Now, when looking at the information, there wasn't much in terms of physical strength by himself, sadly. But still though, Ichigo is strong enough to hold back people you would think is physically stronger than him, or just look physically stronger. He's able to hold off people of gigantic size, or even people who are more powerful than him. He's able to literally push them back with physical strength alone. Yet, he's able to push back people who are more powerful than him. Now I know you're thinking, that shouldn't really be that impressive, DB Sonic. I mean, power doesn't mean strength. Well, true, but still, if you have more power, you'll be able to put more force behind your attack and your push, correct? Yes? But Ichigo is able to not only hold them off, but push them back with just physical strength alone. And in a way, his resistance strength comes under his durability, and Ichigo is a tough son of a bitch. Now, I know what you're thinking. Okay, DBZ, then what does this mean? Well, sure, Sephiroth can break giant pieces of metal on a Mako cannon. He did not destroy the entire Mako cannon. He just broke pieces of the cannon part off. In other words, the barrel. Whereas Ichigo obliterates entire mountains. Even with my lowball 10 mountains in his Bankai and Merged Hollow form, that is leagues above how strong Sephiroth's swings are. Like literally, leagues above. Sure, it's metal, but there's more than just rock in mountains. There's loads of different materials that could literally stop Ichigo's sword or provide resistance. And mountains, while yes, do range in size, even the most average mountain is roughly over 100 feet tall. I shit you not, the most average mountain is over 100 feet in height. I don't even want to go into the variables of width and diameter and all that malarkey, or just all that info. Still, just think of the word mountain. Ichigo is destroying not one, but more mountains. So yeah, with the fact that in his final state, or even just in his true Shikai, he could destroy 2 of them, either way he's still way stronger than Sephiroth. So strength goes to Ichigo. Okay, on to speed. Sticking with Ichigo. Not much is provided, but it's said he's massively hypersonic plus. In other words, he's not just regular hypersonic, which is faster than supersonic. No, not supersonic the character, this speed reading. Now if you're going at sonic speeds, that means you're going at the speed of sound, or just slightly faster. If you're going at supersonic speeds, you're going more faster than the speed of sound, in sort of the Mach 5 to Mach 8 area. If you're going at hypersonic speeds, you're going Mach 10 and above. Ichigo is massively hypersonic, so he could be maybe Mach 20 or higher. But there's the plus, meaning he could be over 20 plus Mach. I know you're thinking, that doesn't sound fast, but it actually is. It's ridiculously fast. In fact, it's stated when he first ever turned Bankai, literally the very first time, he was already as fast or slightly faster than lightning. And you know how fast lightning is? A third the speed of light. Now I don't know if he's massively hypersonic in base or in final form. If that's just his speed in base, I would be shitting myself to find out and figure out how fast he is in his higher forms. I don't know if this massively hypersonic plus is just base or one of his forms. If it is base form, and if I'm allowed to assume it's his base form, that would make Ichigo incredibly fast and unbelievable. And then in his forms afterwards, which all times differently, it just depends on how much they times his power and everything else by, his speed would get redonkulous. I don't know how fast he would be exactly in final form, but given that it's been many years since he first turned Bankai and he's pretty much perfected it at this point, he would be way faster than lightning. Ichigo is probably literally near the speed of light by now, if not over it. Okay, moving on to Sephiroth. Sephiroth has super speed thanks to his Genova cells. Now I don't know how fast, it's just stated that he has super speed, but here are some feats of speed that will prove how fast he is. He can fight both Genesis and Angel at the same time. He can fight 2 just as equally trained combatants as himself. Like these 2 are both soldiers. These 2 are both being infused with the life stream or something, which gives them glowing eyes and makes them incredibly strong, nimble, and well trained. These 2 people are soldiers. No, not regular soldiers. Soldiers, like soldier in Final Fantasy, which is what Sephiroth is. It's a training program. And Sephiroth and these other 2 were, I think, all first class soldiers. He can take on other first class soldiers just like him at the same time. Like literally, don't matter when they come in, even if they both come at the same time, literally at the same time if they were to both to attack, he can literally fight the both of them. Want more feats of speed? Okay. He can dodge and parry every single attack from Cloud's Omni Strike. Now I don't know if this means all of his Omni Strikes or just the first Omni Strike. If it's just Omni Strike 1, then that is impressive. I don't know how fast swings his sword in Omni Strike stage, but given how fast Cloud normally swings even with that huge ass sword of his, I would say that this is incredible. Not only can he fight two people that are equally trained to him at the same time, he can dodge and parry every single attack from a technique where from Cloud, which is meant to blitz the opponent with multiple attacks in the space of like a couple of seconds. It's literally a barrage of attacks. The Omni Slice or Omni Strike is meant to be that. Like, either all of the attacks he normally does or just a lot of attacks in the space of a couple of seconds. And he can dodge and parry all of them. That is incredibly fast. But given that Cloud is only technically human, well maybe yes superhuman because he is a super soldier, but most of the games of Final Fantasy VII, Cloud does not seem that fast in general. He can cut pretty fast and attack fast in Advent Children, but given everything else, he's not faster than like the speed of sound when he strikes, or even faster than lightning. So even though Sephiroth is pretty good at fighting two people at the same time and dodging and parrying an attack that is meant to be literally a blitz barrage of attacks, his feats of speed are not that impressive, especially compared to Ichigo's. Literally, the first time Ichigo turned Bankai, he was as fast as lightning. Now, years later, after he's learned to fuse his holophone with his Bankai form, his speed would be astronomical. He would be ridiculously fast. So already Ichigo wins again. Speed goes to Ichigo, because while Sephiroth has legitimate feats of speed that I've written down, Ichigo is just much faster regardless. Not looking too good for Sephiroth, he's already lost too. But next up is stamina. Sticking with Sephiroth, his stamina is meant to be superhuman thanks to the Genova cells. He can last for several days without sleep or rest. That is pretty impressive. But here's something that's kind of a little more impressive. Ichigo fought at full power for about a day and a half straight. He did not take a break. At full maximum power. Now I know you're thinking, wait, doesn't Sephiroth sound more impressive? Well, yes, but also no, because it's just he can last several days without sleep or rest. It's not, nowhere does it say he's doing it at full power. If he's lasting, that means he's conserving his power, whereas in contrast, Ichigo is using all of his power and he's lasting a day and a half. Now, in a way, that means Sephiroth is better at conserving his stamina and power, which means he has, now I don't know how many days is several, but if we use the word sev for 7, we can literally estimate that Sephiroth can last at least 7 days using all the power he has left and available. So say Sephiroth has, I don't know, a gauge that says 700%. Each single day would take away 100% of his power. Yes, he can do this without sleep or rest, meaning he can survive 7 days without even sitting down, which would count as resting. He can stand up for several days. He doesn't even need sleep. So Sephiroth is better at conserving his power. However, he doesn't do this several days feat at full power. He probably uses the power he has to last that long. If he was at full power, who knows how long he could last. Whereas in contrast, Ichigo at his maximum power was fighting for an entire day and a half straight. And that's the thing, it doesn't say Sephiroth is fighting anyone, he can just last several days. In other words, he could probably just walk and run several days without sleeping or resting. It doesn't say anything about fighting. Well, if it was to do with fighting, then that would be impressive, but seeing how it doesn't mention it, it doesn't fully on count. Whereas in contrast, Ichigo, information literally says he fought he was fighting at full power, meaning he would use his power up much quicker, and he was doing it for literally a day and a half straight. He was not resting, not sitting down, not taking a knee. He kept fighting for a day and a half straight at full power. That is ridiculous. Now I know what you're still thinking, but doesn't that mean Sephiroth is just better at conserving his power? Yes, that is somewhat true. Given the fact that the information provided that I've looked up doesn't state that he's using this stamina to fight, it's just saying he's lasting. Now that can mean lasting in a fight, which would be massively impressive, but it could also just mean he's just lasting, like he's just going out doing regular things, you know, walking through the forest, walking through cities and cities and shit, just doing regular stuff, not fighting. He could do it for several days, which I feel like Ichigo could easily do as well. If he's not fighting anyone, he could probably last a ridiculously long time. But he's fighting, but Ichigo is literally full on fighting someone for a day and a half of maximum power. So this is hard to say. Whilst I will say this, if Sephiroth's lasting for several days without sleep or rest was to do it fighting, then he would probably be better than Ichigo. But then again, it's still me. But still, that's the word last. In other words, he's using his power to make sure he lasts longer. Where in contrast, Ichigo is literally using all of his power all at once, and he's lasting a day and a half, which is impressive. A whole day and a half using maximum power while fighting? That is ridiculous. Whereas in contrast to Sephiroth, if he was fighting but he's trying to just last that long without using all of his power, that would just mean that if he was to go full out using full power, in a way, I don't know if Sephiroth would be able to last that long. Now, I may be wrong, maybe this is just what Sephiroth does, maybe he's just a better conserver, maybe that's just it, he's just better at conserving his stamina. But there's the thing, several days without sleep or rest. Even if we lowball it that several to 7, still after those 7 days he will rest, or at least, at the very least, sleep. He will have a little nap. Whereas Ichigo is fighting. He is literally fighting someone at full power for a day and a half straight. He's not taking any breaks until after that day and a half is gone. And he's literally using up his power and stamina. He's literally using it up. Whereas Sephiroth is conserving it, trying to ration it out. But that's the thing, I'm giving Sephiroth literally benefit of the doubt if it was to do with fighting. But seeing how it doesn't say it's to do with fighting, he's just lasting. In other words, he's just going throughout life lasting several days without sleeping or resting. There's a lot of misinformation and a lot of, what's the turn of phrase, misconceptions or a lot of assumptions here. But still, given the fact that Ichigo has a feat where he is using all his power, which would use up his stamina, fighting for a day and a half, whereas Sephiroth feat that doesn't state he's using full power, he's just lasting several days, and it doesn't even say he's fighting. The person who's fighting and using full power, wasting more stamina, and still lasting over a whole day, sounds a little bit more impressive than someone who stated that he's not even fighting, he's just lasting for 7 days without sleeping or resting. I don't know, I can't really explain it properly, but in other words, Ichigo's stamina feat sounds a little bit more impressive, or just something more tangible. However, if this whole lasting for 7 days without sleep or rest was to do with fighting, Sephiroth would have a much better chance here. However, as it does not state he's fighting, it's just saying he's lasting. In other words, that just means he's kind of like surviving. He's just probably just walking about, doing normal shit, whatever's normal for Sephiroth. So with all that sort of hard assumptions out of the way, yeah, stamina also goes to Ichigo. Now let's move on to martial arts. Going to Ichigo, Ichigo is a master martial artist. Now I don't know what specific martial arts he is of, but seeming how he lives in Japan, more than likely he knows styles such as karate, judo, and kendo. and maybe some jujutsu, respectively. He's also an experienced street brawler. In other words, he knows how to brawl literally on the streets, no problem. And he is a master swordsman. Although he's better using just one sword rather than two. He can use two swords pretty well. He has learned to use one sword for a very long time, which is okay because most of the swords he uses anyway is one sword. So that's kind of good for Ichigo. Now on for to Sephiroth. In martial arts and fighting styles, yeah, Sephiroth does not actually have any actual martial arts techniques. He doesn't show that he knows stuff like kung fu or karate or anything, like nothing. Sure, he kicked Cloud, but who doesn't eventually learn how to freaking kick? The only tangible thing that's considered a martial art or a fighting style is that Sephiroth is a master swordsman. So yeah, you're probably guessing who's gonna win this one. Meanwhile, Ichigo is already a master swordsman, but an expert martial artist and an expert street brawler, and brawling is just going fisticuffs and trying to be fast, tough, and overpowering. Meaning if Sephiroth and Ichigo were to lose their swords in the middle of the battle and started to go in hand to hand, Ichigo would be serving Sephiroth some knuckle sandwiches. Sephiroth has had training as a soldier, maybe he knows some martial arts, but somehow he doesn't really show that he has used any or knows any beyond using a sword, meaning if they were to go hand to hand, Ichigo nearly has the upper hand in this fight. So with Ichigo having 3 martial arts styles over Sephiroth having only 1 in martial arts / fighting styles, again, it's Ichigo. Sticking with Sephiroth here, we are going to the special move. Special moves for Sephiroth are Supernova, Illusion Rush, Meteor, and Bolt. I must state, Sephiroth has only technically officially used Supernova in his final One-Winged Angel state. Final. Not the regular One-Winged Angel, the final state. Literally his final state in Final Fantasy VII. He's never seen using Supernova in his regular One-Winged Angel state or even base form. Not to say that he can't, it's just never been shown beyond his final state. And seeing how he can't really attain this final state without black materia, which is an item. Now I could say Sephiroth is allowed to turn into this final form, which maybe I could let him do it, but yeah, I'll let him do it. I'll let him have black materia as like a special item or just a special weapon. Not really a weapon, it's more of an item, I guess. But yeah, even if Sephiroth was to have black materia on him and turn into his final state, only there and then has it ever been shown he can use Supernova. Now, using Meteor, I don't know if he can use it in base form or one-winged form. But again, Meteor is only shown to be used in Final Fantasy VII while in his final form. Whereas Illusion Rush, he does his form in only one-winged form. And Bolt, I think he can use this move in any form. So yeah, so far as we know from seeing visuals and all the info provided, 2 moves are used in final form, 1 move is used in the first transformation, and 1 move can be used in all forms. Not too bad. Let's go over to Ichigo. Oh boy, Ichigo has the Gesuga Tensho, which condenses a spiritual pressure to launch a sword beam Gesuga Jusho, which fires 2 Gesuga Tenshos at the same time in a X-shaped blast. So yeah, when Ichigo uses Gesuga Tensho, he does 1 crescent moon shaped energy blade attack, but if he does the Gesuga Jusho, he can fire 2 at the same time in an X formation. And for all you people that wanted to know, the Gesuga Tensho translated either means moon splitter or sky splitter. Ichigo also has the flash step, which is basically the Bleach version of the Z-Vanish, which boosts his speed. Now I know you're thinking, the hell's the Z-Vanish? You know when people in Dragon Ball literally move so fast they end up either in front or behind an opponent? Yeah, that. They can do that shit in Bleach, and it's called the Flash Step, which boosts Ichigo's speed dramatically. It makes it look like they're teleported. Now that's a special move. He has the move Sero, a laser beam of spiritual pressure. Now I don't think Ichigo can fire these out of his hands as shown with other people that use Sero, such as Yukiora. his arrow fired from either his mouth or his horns in his full hollow form, otherwise known as his Bastolode form. So yeah, his arrow is form restricted, but is still incredibly deadly, whereas his Gesuga Tensho and Jusho and his Flash Step can be used in almost all of his forms. So yeah, this is a bit tough to say. They both technically have a grand total of 4 moves they can use each. However, Sephiroth has 2 moves limited to his final form, 1 limited to 1 form, and 1 move that's not limited, whereas in contrast, Ichigo has 3 techniques that are not limited to any form. He can use them in any form he sees fit, and only 1 move that's limited to 1 particular form. So yeah, you can see where I'm going with this. The fact that Ichigo has less form restricted moves than Sephiroth, in that sense he wins, but I want to kind of take a little bit of time, not a lot, just a little bit of time to kind of quickly debunk the whole Supernova thing. Well, not debunk, kind of discuss it. Now, every time Sephiroth does the move Supernova, it's not actually him, it's a materia that he has. If you don't know what materia is, it's a super energy condensed crystal that people can use as an item. These crystals are so powerful they can summon literal gods. And this move, Supernova, every time Sephiroth uses it, it technically teleports people into an alternate dimension and causes that dimension's sun to explode, destroying every planet and the person inside the move. It doesn't seem to hurt Sephiroth even though it engulfs him, meaning that Sephiroth that we see getting engulfed by the fire of the exploding sun is an illusion. Now this does sound deadly, however there's a feat that Ichigo has which makes this not that deadly against him. In the manga strip of Bleach, when Captain Yamato turned into his Bankai state, it is stated that his sword's flames are hotter than the core of the sun itself. And now, I know what you're thinking, wait, if a sun goes supernova, wouldn't it become more hotter? Yes, but not by much, sadly. According to science, when a sun goes supernova, it only roughly goes 2 times the heat it normally produces regularly. And that means regularly. It doesn't say anything about the core or anything, just regular heat. In other words, the outer layer of the sun. The heat you get off that, if a sun goes supernova, is double that. And see how Captain Yamato's sword's flames are hotter than the core of the sun in Ichigo's world, and see how Sephiroth just takes you to an alternate dimension of our solar system. That means that when Ichigo was just standing there, not even getting like 3rd-degree burns, not even getting a freaking tan from those flames from Captain Yamato, that just means that if Ichigo was to be hit by the supernova, it wouldn't kill him. Like at all. It may cause some severe burns, possibly, but it would not kill him. He would easily be able to survive it. Now, I will state that Ichigo was only surviving these flames while in his Fullbringer Bankai state, where, you know, his sword is all jaggedy at the end. Yeah, that version of Ichigo. And Ichigo's durability gets way higher, especially in its Bankai full hollow state, especially in its final Gesuga Tensho state. Literally, in his exact final form, he's way more durable in that form than he is in his Fullbringer Bankai. So yeah, and seeing how that was technically ages ago, that actually happened before the time skip, I think. We're using post time skip Ichigo. Yeah. That basically means even if Sephiroth did use the supernova, it wouldn't hurt Ichigo. It might hurt him, but not by much. It definitely would not kill him. And also, if Ichigo saw that Sephiroth is using the materia, he might think to try and break that crystal because he'll think, hang on, he pulled out that crystal and he activated this move. Maybe without that crystal he can't do that move again. The only move that I would see causing a significant threat to Ichigo is Meteor. That's the only move that I see which would cause a threat. However, I will remind you that the move Gesuga Tensho means either Sky Splitter or Moon Splitter. If it means Moon Splitter, then Ichigo could easily cut the meteor in half, because the meteor that we see in Final Fantasy VII looks almost no bigger than our Earth's moon. A little bit bigger, but not by much. And seeing how Ichigo's final Gesuga Tensho attack has been called the World Splitter, in other words, Earth Splitter, yeah, he could easily break that meteorite with a really powerful Gesuga Tensho. How powerful? I'm not certain. Possibly a maximum power black Gesuga Tensho in his, I don't know about Fullbringer Bankai, but possibly Bankai / Full Hollow state, where he mixes Bankai and Full Hollow. Just wanted to kind of say what would happen even if Sephiroth uses two most powerful materia. Anywho, onto power type and powers. For Ichigo, he has soul / spiritual pressure, which, funny enough, I must add, if against opponents whose spiritual pressure or soul power is weaker, the spiritual pressure of someone stronger can literally act as intense gravity. Ichigo can also control Reishi, which is in a way a natural energy that can actually make up material, kind of like Ki, but this Reishi makes up literal materials like housing and buildings and other things. So it's almost like plasma in a way. And Ichigo can also control Hado. He does not use all Hado moves, but he can control the power of Hado, giving him more power to use. Thanks to this, he has the ability to fly, fire energy, beam cuts, move faster, and have much more stronger attacks. In contrast with Sephiroth, his power type and powers is Genova. Now I know you're thinking, what does that mean? Well, in a way, Genova or Cetra powers are basically just superhumans. Thanks to Sephiroth having Genova cells, he can control other beings that have Genova cells. But that would be like summoning creatures, and technically I do not allow that unless it's a thing that they do all the time and it's a canon move, or the creature is literally a part of him. Like Kurama is part of Naruto, or the fact that Naruto can summon a giant frog is literally an ability he uses quite often. Sephiroth also uses materia, which while is not a power he actually has in his body, is a special type of crystal. Think of materia as like the Chaos Emeralds of Final Fantasy, and Sephiroth can use a magical power or an ethereal power known as the Life Stream, which is literally the power or the stream of every living soul. In other words, he literally collects soul energy, or ki in a way, life energy. Now, life energy in Final Fantasy is a little bit different to the life energy in Dragon Ball, but I'll give you a brief example. Yes, he can control the life energy of living plants and people, but also is the energy of soul of plants and people. So it's kind of ki mixed with soul energy in a way, making Sephiroth incredibly powerful, and he can call upon the life stream energy to give him either more power or give him back his full power. However, this does take time and focus, and for him to not be attacked. If he is interrupted, the power cannot be constantly called upon when he's being attacked. So think of it as like Goku summoning a Spirit Bomb. He needs to not be interrupted for it to work. So yeah, there's that. Now, I can't really compare the powers and power types, but seeing how Ichigo's literal regular power of spiritual pressure acts as artificial gravity to people whose power is weaker. Now, I don't know if Sephiroth is, in terms of power, weaker than Ichigo, but seeing how most of Sephiroth's power comes from absorbing the life stream, naturally on his own, he's not that powerful. So yeah, I don't know if the spiritual pressure would affect Sephiroth, but it might cause Sephiroth to feel a bit sluggish and feel like he's being pushed down by something. While Sephiroth can call upon the life energy of the entire planet, Ichigo can call upon a special energy that actually makes up materials such as literally brick and mortar and ceramic tiles. Literally, he can call upon the energy that makes up what seems to be matter. In other words, he's calling upon plasma, the fourth state of matter, which takes up 99.9% of the entire universe. Literally, Ichigo can call upon the power of the universe, whereas Sephiroth can only call upon the life energy of the planet. So yeah, in comparison, Ichigo's powers and power types trumps Sephiroth's. Oh boy. moving over to Sephiroth, we are on to durability and armor. First off is durability. Sephiroth can tank a bunch of fireballs from Genesis and was ultimately unharmed. Yeah, he took fireballs straight to him and tanked them. If you know what that means, it means he took them and he just basically didn't feel it. Tanked. You know, like if you shoot a tank, it won't be affected by your bullets. Like that. And he was stabbed in the back and out of the chest by Cloud, by his Buster Sword. Yeah, he was stabbed through the back and out through his chest by Cloud's Buster Sword, which is incredibly thick. How thick? Really darn thick. Almost a foot thick. I don't know about you, but if that was a normal person who's got a skinny build, they're going in half from that sword. Sephiroth is lucky to survive that shit. And he's also able to fight while in a weakened state. He can cut through metal walls while weakened. That's pretty durable. Now I know you figure, wait a minute, how is that durable? Okay, I may have read this a little wrong. I don't know if it's Sephiroth is able to fight after being weaker or is Cloud being able to fight after being weaker. Not entirely sure, but they'll be weaker and he's able to cut through metal walls. I don't know if that counts as durability, but that's pretty good for stamina wise. But he's still able to fight even though he's much weaker. Not too bad. I feel like it's meant to be directed towards Cloud. I'm not sure. In terms of armor, not much. He only has the metal shoulder pads on his, shoulders. He doesn't really have much in terms of armor. I don't know what those metal shoulder pads are made, but I'm going to be fair and say they're made out of construction steel. Otherwise, why the hell would he wear them? In contrast, for durability and armor for Ichigo has a special ability called the Blue Vein or Vine, a Quincy technique that maximizes durability by directing spiritual particles through his veins. So in other words, even if Sephiroth managed to attack Ichigo, if Ichigo activated his Blue Vein ability or it activates on its own, it can literally just take the hit and, it will do no damage whatsoever. Yeah, talk about an ultimate defense. Suck it, Gaara. Ichigo's got it on his fucking skin. And also, he can crush country-busting attacks with his bare hands. Now, I don't know if that counts as being durable, but so in other words, he's being hit by a country-busting attack, and he's able to crush the move with bare hands. That is incredible strength and durability. Technically, Ichigo doesn't really have any armor. However, in a way, the Blue Vein already acts as a special kind of armor. Even without that, I must state that in his hollow state, he gets a bone marrow-like outer shell. Yeah, in his Vastolordi form, that's not just a regular funny-looking mask, that is made out of pure bone, and so is the rest of his whitened skin. That's bone marrow skin, and that would be very tough to get through. So I'm sorry Sephiroth, while you have some pretty decent feats of durability, you have nothing against Ichigo so far. Durability and armor goes to Ichigo. Up next is weapons. Sticking with Ichigo's weapon is known as Zangetsu, a long Kaiba knife-like sword in his right hand with a hole in the shape of a smaller dagger like sword, and this sword changes form depending on Ichigo's transformation. In Shikai form, it just looks like a big ass exaggerated katana of sorts. In his Bankai form, it's a 5'7" long, black, regular looking katana. I know what you're thinking, 5'7"? That would be something like an Odachi, which you would be right about actually, because I don't think katanas go anywhere near 5 feet long. And this sword, I shit you not, from tip to the back is 5'7". And technically he doesn't really have a weapon in his Vastolordi form. In his Vastolordi form, Ichigo doesn't seem to have a weapon or a sword. Even if he did, he doesn't really need one, because he's a brute. He fights with bare hands and laser blasts. He goes Dragon Ball Z on your ass. In his Fullbringer Bankai form is similar to the regular one, only this time the katana or Tensa Zangetsu sword has little divots, like little extra spikes at the bottom that curve inwards. So in other words, if Ichigo was to stab forwards and try to pull back, he would end up ripping extra bits of your flesh out. That sounds like it hurts a lot. So yeah, that is deadly. And in his Bankai full hollow state, he has 2 twin swords. One sword roughly about 3 feet long, one only about a foot and a bit long. So in other words, he has a sword and kind of more like just an elongated dagger, which means he has a long-range weapon and a short-range one in case anyone manages to get in close. Pretty cool. And in his final state, the final Gesuka Tensho, his sword literally gets attached to his freaking arm. Like the chain wraps around and like it literally just becomes part of his arm. Like his hand is no longer a hand. It's the literal pommel of the sword. It's like literally the handle becomes Ichigo's hand. Yeah, the handle and the hand fuse into one. Hand sword, that sounds awesome. Or arm sword, that just sounds equally awesome. So yeah, Ichigo's sword transforms due to his transformations, which makes him an incredibly unique swordsman. Now let's move on to Sephiroth. Sephiroth's sword is known as Masamune, which is an 8-foot long katana / odachi style sword meant to be great for distance and open areas. Sephiroth can easily swing this sword incredibly fast and with minimal effort, but however there is a problem with this sword. If anyone dodges most of his fast swings and gets in close, the sword is almost near useless. It's good for a defensive tool, but other than that, as soon as someone gets in past the fairly large swings he'd be doing, yeah, he's done for. So yeah, there's not much his sword can do. It does not change depending on his transformation, so yeah, Ichigo wins again. Okay, sticking to special abilities with Sephiroth. Oh boy, this is a long one, but I'm gonna get through this quick as possible. His special abilities are as such. Sephiroth can create manifestations of himself that are capable of harming people. In other words, he can create illusion clothes that while cannot be hurt because they're illusions, they can hurt other people. So in other words, it's like Shadow Clone Jutsu. He can also control people that have Genova cells, but this is not going to work on Ichigo, seeing how he doesn't have these. He can also create illusions to trick some people temporarily and knock out many more. So in other words, he can create illusions that can, well, trick people and warp their mind. He can create other types of illusions. He has dimension teleportation in a sense. He can use the bulk material which summons lightning, and he can semi-fly thanks to his one wing in his one-winged state. Now I say semi-fly because he can fly but not properly. In contrast, for special abilities, Ichigo can call upon his demonic powers of the Hollow to give him more power overall from everything. He becomes stronger, faster, more brutal, and give him more blast-based attacks. He can fly, he can use the quick step which acts like a teleportation. His spiritual pressure acts like intense gravity to weaker opponents. Like literally, he can use Reishi to make a platform for himself to walk on, or just use the Reishi to give him more power than he already has. Yeah, that's pretty brutal. Now, the fact that Ichigo is already faster than lightning, yeah, the bulk material is not really good. Do much against Ichigo. Now, here is the thing though. Sephiroth can use illusions on people. I don't know whether or not it will work on Ichigo. Spiritual pressure in Bleach has created semi-illusions for people, and Ichigo has been caught under Aizen's illusions before, but comparing Aizen to Sephiroth, yikes. If you think Ichigo was winning so far, if Sephiroth was going up against Aizen, Aizen would curb stomp Sephiroth, no questions asked, and his illusions are powerful enough to trick the literal god in Bleach, Yawak, and this is proof that Aizen's illusions are powerful. Yawak can see every possible future and outcome, and he was caught in an illusion by Aizen. But the funny thing is though, even though Sephiroth can create illusions with enough mental strength and a lot of resistance, some people can actually break through it and see past the illusion. And there's a problem with this anyway. You either have to make someone look at you, or you have to make sure they're looking in your general area when you activate your illusion trick. But most illusions require eye contact. If Ichigo is constantly moving, Sephiroth cannot cause an illusion on him. Sure, Ichigo could be looking at Sephiroth a lot, but Ichigo could probably move a lot faster than Sephiroth can activate illusions. So, once again, special abilities goes to Ichigo. Okay, this next one is pretty easy. Sephiroth only has technically 2 transformations, although I will say one transformation requires black materia. Normally on his own, he can just achieve the one-winged angel form. With the black materia though, he can achieve the one-winged final form, or otherwise just known as final form Sephiroth. Now, I don't know how many more times powerful it makes him. In his one-winged form, it makes him slightly faster, gives him semi-flight. Doesn't make him that much stronger, but maybe a bit. It does make him a little bit more versatile in the battlefield. And in his final state, he grows colossally. Like, he becomes huge. How big? I don't know. Possibly 100 feet tall. But the funny thing is, Ichigo has faced really tall opponents before, so it wouldn't be too unusual for him to see that. But that's two forms, and while yes, the final form does basically almost make him a god, in some senses, here's Ichigo's. Whenever he transforms into a Soul Reaper, he's always in a Shikai form, so yeah, there's that. So he has his Bankai, his Hollow Mask, and already his Bankai is literally 5 times to 10 times stronger or more powerful than Shikai. Let's take on that. The Hollow Mask, don't know how much more powerful it makes him, but at the very least it makes him 5 times stronger. Full Hollow or Vastalorde, yeah, immensely more powerful than even Hollow Mask Bankai Ichigo. How much? At the very least 10 times more powerful. So already in full hollow, from base Shikai form, he is already now 25 times stronger. In Fullbringer, which is also known as Fullbringer Bankai, I don't know how much stronger he is than full hollow slash Vastalorde, but I'm guessing he's at least 5 times stronger, so that's now 30 times. And now in his Bankai full hollow state, or Bankai hollow fuse state, which is the last state he gets before final Gesuga Tensho, he is now at least 10 times more stronger, so that's 40. And in final Gesuga Tensho, oh my word, I don't know how much stronger, but at the very least, I'm gonna say he's at least 20 times stronger. Now that is a grand total of 60 times the strength from his basic form when he transforms into a Soul Reaper. Technically, yes, the Soul Reaper state is a transformation, because Ichigo starts off normally as a human. Funny enough, Ichigo is always a Soul Reaper even when he's in his human state. He just activates it properly when he becomes just a soul, when he's not in his human living form. Yeah, he has to become a soul to activate his Soul Reaper powers. So yeah, kind of think of it as just like powering up to maximum in a way, or just using your actual powers instead of being in a relaxed state. So yeah, given that Ichigo has like 6 transformations properly, yeah, he has way more transformations than Sephiroth. And also there's a reason why Ichigo is called Final Gesuga Tensho in his last form. 1, not only is that the name of his form, 2, that's the name of his most powerfulest move, the Final Gesuga Tensho, which has been stated and called the World Splitter. Why? Because it's powerful enough to literally split Earth in half. That is a lot of power. I don't think Sephiroth has ever done a move that powerful, at least on his own. With the Materia Meteor, he has destroyed planets, but that's the Materia, not him. Ichigo can do this with his legitimate actual power, making him unbelievably powerful. Yeah, Ichigo wins again. Quickly moving on, intelligence. Apparently, Ichigo is incredibly intelligent, in fact he's highly intelligent, and he's an analyst. That means he analyzes his opponents, studies them, kind of tries to predict what they're gonna do. That's basically what analyzing means. Whereas in contrast, Sephiroth is incredibly smart and strategic, but is often overconfident, and has been his downfall a couple of times. But he is very much a master of playing opponents into his tactics. So Sephiroth plays people into tactics while Ichigo is an analyzer, which would mean eventually, no matter how many times Sephiroth tries to play Ichigo into his game, Ichigo will be like, wait a minute, I see what he's doing now. So yeah, in terms of intelligence, I think it's kind of semi-even, but Ichigo may eventually learn of Sephiroth's tactics if he, well, uses his brain, if he actually thinks smart. Okay, quickly moving on to weaknesses. Sephiroth's weakness, he's not got that many, but a lot of constant brute force will take him down eventually. Whereas Ichigo doesn't really have that many weaknesses. He'll just get beaten down eventually too, but apparently his weakness is strange code of honor. In other words, his code of honor is sometimes his downfall, because he's too honorable. Not a bad thing, but considering that that's not really anything, and not really something that I don't think Sephiroth can use against him, yeah, it makes this pretty clear cut. So yeah, I will state, Sephiroth does have a couple of moves which could provide a problem for Ichigo. However, Ichigo has abilities and feats that can counter these abilities that Sephiroth has. Most of the strong abilities Sephiroth has are thanks to Materia. He can call upon the life energy of the earth, making him stronger. However, Ichigo kinda does the same thing with his Reishi, but he's also calling upon not just the life energy, but the literal energy from the material. So while Sephiroth is calling upon the power of living people or creatures, Ichigo's stealing living matter. Like, he's stealing the very foundation of the entire universe. So yeah, what's better? Someone calling upon the energy of Earth, or someone calling upon the energy of the entire universe? Yeah, I think you know the answer to that. Ichigo. So yeah, sorry to any Final Fantasy fans, but in this, the One-Winged Angel gets taken down by the souped up version of the Grim Reaper. It looks like the One-Winged Angel has been taken down by the substitute Soul Reaper. Also, I need to add that I forgot to do while doing this recording that Sephiroth has 2 limit break moves, one being called the Auto Slash where he attacks 8 times with his sword in rapid succession, and a move called Shadow Flare where he shoots energy balls made of like shadows or dark energy. I didn't add these in because 1, I didn't know about them and they weren't in the research I did. 2, I don't think they will change much of the outcome anyway regardless. Yes, it would give Sephiroth more variety and a little bit more to use against Ichigo, but it wouldn't provide much. So yeah, I didn't add that. Really sorry, but I don't think it will change much anyway, so thanks for listening to this little side note. Thank you guys so much for watching and enjoying this video. If you like to leave a like, leave a comment, subscribe to join the Hedgehog/Nation today. Make sure you keep a listen out for the next Who Will Win video. Thank you guys for enjoying this. If you guys have any thoughts, leave it in the comments below. If you guys want the information that I've written down and got provided by me, there will be links in the description, and I will probably eventually paste in my own comments the entire list that I used for this video. Thank you guys for watching. Hope you liked it. Stay awesome, and as always, a Dragon Fist. HIYA!